After 20 years of being dinks, dual income, no kids, the company was finally preparing to go public. One day, my wife Olivia showed up at home with twins in tow. "Ethan, these are my children, they're already 22. We're not getting any younger, so it's time to pass the company on to them." I stared at Olivia in shock. She avoided eye contact, first claiming the children were for my sake, then changing her story to say they were an accident. But she forgot it was her who feared the pain of childbirth and stubbornly insisted on being child-free. Finally, she spat out the words, "If you don't agree, then divorce me and give me half the company." She pulled the twins close and added threateningly, "You can't take the company or shares to the grave. You should thank me for having the foresight to give birth to these two children." Hearing her threat, I turned and dialed a number. "Sarah, immediately release my DNA information globally. I want to find all my children." The next day, the twins sat waiting for me at the dining table early in the morning, handing me a share transfer agreement. "Mr. Cole, we are Mom's children. As her spouse, we rightfully deserve inheritance rights. You're getting older and don't have any biological children of your own. If you treat us well now, we'll take care of you later and arrange a comfortable retirement for you." Looking at a face that bore 50% resemblance to Olivia's, I stared fixedly at her. Her expression flashed with guilt, her eyes stubbornly fixed on the table, refusing to meet my gaze. At this point, what more was there for me not to understand? "Olivia, do you think you're qualified to run a branch company? A pair of bastards, do you think you're qualified to inherit the Cole enterprise?" From the time they got married until now, Olivia had never worked a single day, using poor health as an excuse. She was either getting spa treatments, shopping, playing golf, or flying off to Europe for vacations when she had nothing better to do. It was through my sleepless nights and relentless effort, pushing myself to the point of stomach bleeding, that I single-handedly built Cole Enterprises. The four sat at the dining table as silence filled the air. The boy finally spoke. "Mr. Cole, since you refuse to accept us, we won't force you to acknowledge us as family. We just want to inherit Mom's share of the assets." The girl also spoke up. "Legally, we indeed can't inherit your property. But if Mom divorces you, won't we still get half? You might as well be generous and voluntarily recognize us, letting us inherit the company. Out of respect for Mom, we wouldn't kick you out when you're old." Amid the silent exchange of glances among the three, I remained coldly smiling without a word. They had endured patiently for 22 years, and now that they dared to appear openly at home, they had thoroughly studied the law and timed their move precisely. If they divorced, Olivia would indeed take half the assets, and forget about the company going public. All the early investments would go down the drain. They're truly cunning, utterly ruthless too. In the icy tension, Olivia began scolding the two children. "Aiden, don't speak to Mr. Cole like that. Mr. Cole doesn't have children of his own. How could he not dote on you?" Then she looked at me with apologetic eyes. "Darling, look at how things are now. Both Aiden and Ava graduated from Ivy League schools, so filial and sensible. You must have heirs, after all. If you just give the company to them, they'll be your children, and they'll surely take care of you in your old age." I sneered. My wife cheated and bore me illegitimate children, and now I'm supposed to thank her for leaving me heirs. Otherwise, I might have ended up thrown onto the streets digging through trash bins when I'm old. After 20 years of marriage, looking at Olivia, who's maintained her grace and remained youthful, I suddenly realized I'd grown old. I turned to them and asked that piercing question, "And where is your biological father?" Aiden curled the corner of his lips with an expression of complete understanding. "Mr. Cole, my father is in Europe. He's staying away temporarily to spare you the embarrassment." I narrowed my eyes at this young man decked out in trendy brands. After 20 years of hustling in the business world, I could clearly see the mockery in his gaze. He probably thought I'd be jealous, quarrelsome, and heartbroken now that his father was back. He lifted his chin slightly, looking at me with disdain. "Mr. Cole, at your age, it's embarrassing to make a fuss over love and relationships. Don't you think it's beneath you? A bastard. Confident he had me cornered, that's why he dared to be so arrogant." I scoffed coldly. "Then isn't it just as embarrassing that your biological father couldn't provide you wealth and status, yet sent you to acknowledge me as your father?" Olivia's face darkened, though she hadn't yet lost her temper, while Aiden slammed his palm on the table across the room. "Ethan Cole." The soup splashed onto my face, but I calmly turned my gaze toward the group. Olivia said indignantly, "Ethan, how could you say that about Ryan? He's sacrificed his career to raise two children at home. That's already humiliating enough for a grown man. How dare you shame him in front of the kids?" Ava, clad head to toe in Chanel, sprang to her feet and stared down her nose at me with an air of haughtiness. "What's the use of winning an argument? My dad might not make money, but he has my mom's love, and he has us. Once we take over the company, he'll have everything. If anyone dares to disrespect my dad, my brother and I wouldn't mind breaking their legs and tossing them into the Hudson River to feed the fish." I watched the furious expressions on these two kids' faces. Nowadays even illegitimate children dare to be this arrogant. Olivia really outdid herself. Olivia hurriedly tried to soothe the children, urging them not to act rashly, while patiently explaining the situation to me. "Ethan, you see now, don't you? These two children are truly filial. If you cherish them like a father should, they'll naturally stand by you just like they would their biological dad." Ryan Peterson had it hard too. "Back then, we were just drunk when we accidentally conceived the children. I wanted to abort them, but Ryan talked me out of it. He promised it wouldn't affect our marriage and that he'd raise them himself." Ethan, try to understand Ryan too. He's just soft-hearted, couldn't bear to hurt two innocent lives. Without him, Aiden and Ava wouldn't even have had the chance to be born. Olivia spoke until her eyes reddened, her voice choking with emotion. Listening to her twisted and false remarks, my heart was about to explode with anger. Unable to give up, I asked one last question. "What exactly do you want?" Olivia stammered for a long time before letting out a voice as faint as a mosquito's buzz. "Ryan has lived in Europe for over 20 years, and the two kids are used to staying with him. I was thinking of giving him the Hampton Villa. I'll go stay with them on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, come back to accompany you on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, and leave Sundays to my mood." I clenched my fists tightly, abandoning my last shred of hope. "Since you want a family reunion, let's get a divorce." Olivia's expression darkened. "Ethan, I told you it was just an accident. I still love you. We've been married for 20 years. Do you really want to throw that all away?" I cut her off, spitting each word in her face. "Olivia, what kind of modern family drama do you think you're acting in? You're shameless. All these years she's been using my money to support her young lover and illegitimate children, and now she still wants to have it both ways, expecting me to keep being the fool. Those two illegitimate brats look at me with nothing but contempt and scorn. It's not like I'm blind. God knows how many years these people have been laughing at me behind my back. I originally thought that if it was truly an accident, I could just give them some money to settle things. After all, I was the one who desperately pursued Olivia in the first place and loved her for 20 years. Despite the pain, I was still willing to give her another chance. But now it seems it was all just my wishful thinking. Her eyes and heart are completely filled with Ryan Peterson and those two children. She refuses to divorce not because she can't bear to part with me, but because she can't bear to let go of this cash cow. Seeing my harsh words, Olivia's face darkened, and she finally gritted her teeth to unleash her trump card. "Ethan Cole, if you really want a divorce, I'll take half the assets, and you can forget about taking the company public." Olivia's calculation was spot on. She knew the company was like my own child, into which I'd poured my heart and soul. For 3 whole years, I'd been preparing relentlessly for this IPO. She bet that I couldn't bear to lose her, couldn't bear to lose the company, and would inevitably bend my head in submission. But she didn't know that my children were not just the company, but countless real children as well. Seeing my dark expression, Olivia softened her voice to coax me. "Ethan, you know I love you. Otherwise, I wouldn't have abandoned my child to stay with you for 20 years. I just made a mistake that any woman in the world could make. It doesn't mean I've stopped loving you. You once said that when we grew old, you'd let go of the company and travel the world with me. Now that we have successors, they carry my blood and their character is trustworthy. Wouldn't it be better for them to manage the company than outsiders?" Olivia spoke persuasively, presenting all sorts of reasoning. Had it not been for the subtle glances she cast toward the children, I might have believed even a fraction of her words. The flicker of calculation in their eyes was something impossible to conceal. When she first proposed being child-free, she was already waiting for this day, for me to grow old and lose all chance of parenthood. Then, through threats and allure, she'd bring along her young lover and secret child to seize everything I had. Laughing behind my back, "Who told you to be such a fool, blinded by love? You deserve to die alone." In my silence, some departed joyfully. Instagram showcased scenes of a family of 3 shopping frenziedly, of 999 roses at the airport welcoming the triumphant return of some pretty boy. For 3 consecutive days, Olivia didn't come home. I knew she was staying blissfully at the villa in Hampton, too happy to think of returning. Every day, Olivia would text me, reminding me to handle the equity transfer as soon as possible, each message punctuated with a kissing emoji. "Sweetheart, Ryan just got back and isn't familiar with everything yet. I'll come back to you once I've settled things here. Love you." I watched coldly as Olivia bought Ryan Peterson luxury cars and expensive watches, watching how smugly he flashed peace signs on Instagram. The caption read, "20 years through thick and thin. Finally I can embrace you openly today." Scumbags aren't just scheming creatures, they're also masters of disguise. 22 years, and now he no longer needs to pretend. I simply tapped like on his post with perfect composure. My attitude made them think I had softened, and the twins securing the company was a done deal. After all, even if we divorced, I'd lose both love and money, might as well stay in their good graces and keep a few more family members around. Besides, I'm already past 50, what use is more money to me when I don't even have kin of my own blood? Olivia had already started contacting journalists and scouting venues to organize a press conference. Secretary Sarah Vance came to pick me up carrying a stack of documents while Olivia cheerfully reminded me, "Pay extra attention to the company's IPO. Once it succeeds, the market value will double. making it easier for Aiden and Ava to take over eventually. Sarah added with a smile, yes, having family help will certainly make things easier. After all, blood runs thicker than water. Unable to detect the hidden meaning in Sarah's words, Olivia mistakenly thought I had already discussed these matters with Sarah. After all, Sarah has been with me since graduating from college, serving as both secretary and personal assistant, though she's nearly 40 now and never married. There's been plenty of gossip in the company about her and me, but we're truly innocent. As I stepped through the door, I calmly looked at Sarah. How many have you found so far? 28 confirmed cases at present. Some just submitted applications, others came straight with their information. I'm handling them now. Good, arrange for their food and accommodation. When the time is right, bring them all here. Over the next few days, I didn't return home, staying at the company to sort out the accounts instead. When I finally went back, all I saw was my empty fish tank. Laughter echoed from the kitchen as Ryan Peterson emerged wearing an apron, smiling broadly while carrying a platter of fish. On the plate lay my $3 million koi fish, Sultan. Eye to eye, I had already seen him in photos and knew he was Ryan Peterson. Seeing the two kids lounging on the sofa, legs crossed as they played with their phones, and hearing Olivia's cheerful shouts from the kitchen, my fury boiled over. Who told you to cook my fish? Taking without asking is theft, don't you understand that? Olivia's voice called from the kitchen, Ryan, come quick and taste this soup. What do you think? Both children sprang to their feet. What do you mean? What stealing? Exactly. This is our mom's house, our home now. Everything here belongs to us. What's wrong with eating some fish? I sneered. This is the koi Sultan I bought at auction for $3 million. That's what's wrong. The girl hadn't realized the severity of the situation yet, letting out an astonished wow. A $3 million fish? Quick, take pictures. I'll have something to brag about in front of my girlfriends later. Let's see how they can steal my spotlight then. Olivia poked her head out, guilt flashing across her face the moment she saw me. Ethan, you're back. Since you were gone for so long, I just invited them over for dinner. I sneered. Olivia, so you just went ahead and ate my Sultan? You knew its worth, Olivia stammered. Ethan, Ryan didn't mean to. The kids wanted grilled fish, and we didn't have any at home. By the time I saw it, Ryan had already prepared the fish. It was already slaughtered, we couldn't just waste it, right? Besides, it wasn't given to strangers. Staring at the empty fish tank, my heart ached with a sharp pang. I had raised that fish for 5 years, spending no less than $30,000 each month, and all she said nonchalantly was, it's dead anyway. I took a deep breath and said coldly, make him pay for my fish, then get out. Otherwise, I'm calling the police right now. At my words, the boy sprang to his feet. Old bastard, who the hell are you telling to get out? Call the police? Go ahead, try it. I'll break your legs. The girl stepped forward as well, glaring at me indignantly. You better show some respect to my dad, he's my real father. If you keep this up, don't expect us to take care of you in the future. I raised my eyes to look at these two children, just as shameless as Ryan Peterson. Ryan Peterson stood between the two kids, arrogantly raising his eyebrows with a smug grin, like an old rogue. I didn't want to waste words on them and turned my gaze to Olivia. Olivia, we really need to talk. I turned and sat on the sofa. Olivia glanced at the father and his two sons before finally taking a seat opposite me. The four of them seemed to be putting me through a joint interrogation. The two children glared at me with venomous eyes, while Ryan Peterson wore an expression of utter indifference. Getting straight to the point, I said, Olivia, make them return to Europe immediately. I'm willing to pay $1.5 million in living expenses. Otherwise, we'll settle this at the police station today. As soon as the words fell, Ryan Peterson slammed his palm on the table. $1.5 million? You think we're beggars? Cole Enterprises is worth $150 million even before going public, let alone after. Not to mention over a dozen cars and 5 properties. And you're offering us $1.5 million? I shot a glance at Olivia. She'd clearly told Ryan Peterson every detail. Was this the so-called unexpected turn she mentioned? The two children's eyes immediately lit up when they heard $150 million. $150 million. Mom, that means my sister and I would be multi-millionaires. This is amazing. Once we get the money, I'll buy a private jet first to travel the world, then find myself a celebrity boyfriend. Watching their excited reactions, I slowly said, Olivia, you should understand this is my hard-earned money. If I feel unhappy even for a moment, I can easily donate it all or even bankrupt the company. After all, I'm all alone in this world with nothing to lose. Before Olivia could respond, Aiden suddenly lunged forward and punched me in the face. You old bastard, say that again. You actually dare to donate our money? No money means no food, no drink, nothing. You think you can screw us over? I'll break your legs first. He kicked me in the leg again, while Olivia hurriedly pulled Aiden over. Damn brat, speak properly if you have something to say. That's Mr. Cole, how could you hit him? Ryan Peterson spoke with an air of detached wisdom. Buddy, you're a few years older than me, how are you still this impulsive? Olivia at least shared your bed for 20 years. You couldn't even get a call girl for free, let alone the warmth and sense of family she gave you. What's the big deal about her having a baby? How could you turn so heartless, forcing a mother and her 2 children to beg on the streets? Olivia's expression darkened at this moment. Ethan Cole, I never thought you'd be this kind of person, so utterly heartless. It doesn't matter whether I want the money or not. But how could you bear to donate it and let Aiden and Ava suffer? They're my children, doesn't that mean they're yours too? Oh, I turned a cold gaze toward Olivia. Olivia, are you saying I shouldn't mind you cheating on me and should generously accept your child? So if I had children outside, could you generously treat them as your own? Olivia scoffed, of course, if you also have children outside, you can bring them back. They'll inherit the company alongside Aiden and Eva in the future. I'm not as petty and selfish as you. I'm already over 50, constantly worn out from social engagements, my health is poor. Even if I wanted another child, it'd be impossible now. Olivia must be certain I can't have children anymore. Since she's saying this, I won't hold back either. I smiled while dialing Sarah's number. Sarah, bring all the kids over. 5. Sarah arrived incredibly fast. When 10 cars lined up at the villa's entrance, even I was startled. 1, 2, 3, with black hair, blonde hair, dark skin, fair skin, a full 43 of them. They stood neatly in 2 rows, shouting in perfect unison. Father, the eldest child was a year older than Olivia's kids, while the youngest was still in high school. After all, they're my offspring. This time, I was the one who proactively sought to provide child support, so it's only right they call me father. Olivia looked at these children in confusion. Ethan, who are they? Why are they calling you father? Ryan Peterson scoffed with disdain as he spoke. Ethan Cole, you've truly gone to great lengths to monopolize the company for yourself. First you threatened to call the police, then threatened to donate the company, and now you've brought out these children. Did you think calling you father would entitle them to inherit your assets? That requires actual blood relations, legal recognition matters. With a sly chuckle, I replied, how do you know they aren't related to me by blood? Every drop in their veins is pure Ethan Cole lineage. Olivia helplessly stepped forward to link arms with me. All right, darling, stop making such a fuss. Do you really think I wouldn't know if you had a child? Aiden and Ava stood dumbfounded at first, then burst into laughter upon realizing what had happened. Old man, have you gone mad with longing for a son? How could you pick so many bastards to call your own? Mr. Cole, don't you think you're just asking for humiliation? A random child you picked up can compete with us for the family fortune? Might as well throw out inheritance laws then. The group laughed with varying expressions, Olivia among them, wearing a helpless and disdainful smile. But their laughter came to an abrupt halt when Sarah pulled out 43 paternity test reports. Olivia trembled as she flipped through the reports, her voice shaking uncontrollably. No way. When did you have so many illegitimate children? I don't believe it, these must all be fake. You're just trying to trick me. After 20 years together, she knew me well. I never engaged in improper relationships with women, let alone kept mistresses or sugar babies outside. That's why she dared to stab me in the back so ruthlessly when I grew old. Olivia kept turning it over and over, as if searching for signs of forgery. Ryan Peterson stopped smiling too, snatching the autopsy report anxiously and staring intently at its contents. The twin siblings also panicked, pressing him repeatedly. Dad, this must be fake, right? He's not some breeding stud, how could he possibly have so many illegitimate children? Olivia also snapped out of it, her expression quickly regaining composure. Ethan Cole, is this some kind of joke? With that body of yours, you expect me to believe you fathered all these illegitimate children? Do you take me for an idiot? Alright, I can't be bothered to waste my breath on you. Send them back where they came from now. Tomorrow's the press conference, and we still need to discuss stage etiquette and review which business tycoons we'll be introducing. I sneered and pulled out my sperm donation honor certificate from behind my back. If you're not an idiot or suffering from amnesia, you should remember this. Olivia's pupils dilated instantly, so shocked she could barely speak coherently. You, Ethan Cole, you actually found them. From the year Olivia proposed being dinks, double income no kids, I began donating sperm. I always felt that even if we couldn't acknowledge each other, having a child in this world who shares my blood would mean I'm not entirely alone. I kept donating for 10 years, never expecting such an unexpected blessing in my later years. I've already started making plans. Olivia, you just said you'd generously acknowledge my children too. Currently, there are 43 recognized, and there might be more in the future. For now, we'll have to arrange for them to stay in our spare properties. If those aren't enough, I'll look into buying a few more. By the way, since they've just arrived, let's buy each of them a car and give them $300,000 in spending money. I haven't fulfilled my fatherly duties all these years, so I should make it up to them properly. I've done the math, and we'll probably need around $30 million initially. It wouldn't be appropriate to distribute shares now, there might still be other children who haven't come forward yet. That wouldn't be fair to them. I'm thinking we should wait another 2 years and put out some more information overseas, just to see if there are any more of our Cole family's lost children scattered abroad. Olivia, since they're all our children, you shouldn't play favorites either. Olivia trembled all over, her lips quivering for a long moment before uttering 4 words. You're ruthlessly cruel. Just then, Sarah suddenly walked up to me with bashful steps. Mr. Cole, actually you don't have 43 children, but 45. Under everyone's astonished gazes, she blushed and produced 2 more paternity test reports. Actually, I also gave birth to twins for you, a boy and a girl. 6. With a wave of Sarah's hand, 2 graceful figures approached from nearby, the girl with flowing long hair, pure and lovely, the boy tall and handsome. They walked up to me with smiles and bowed politely. Father, we finally have the chance to meet you. Under my astonished gaze, Sarah spoke slowly. Mr. Cole, I've admired you all these years. My heart has no room for anyone else, so the moment I learned you donated sperm, I decided to have your child. That's all I could ever ask for in this lifetime. You know I'm an orphan. You never held my background against me, gave me a generous salary and often taught me how to do things properly. My heart ached from the moment I learned you'd chosen to be child-free. How could someone as remarkable as you not have an heir? Sarah's eyes reddened as she spoke, and I found myself overwhelmed with emotion too. So someone had been silently loving me all along, giving so much for me. Olivia stared blankly at Sarah, then suddenly let out a roar and lunged forward. You fox spirit! How dare you seduce my husband, you shameless bitch! I'll beat you to death! The 2 children immediately shielded Sarah, while I grabbed Olivia to stop her from going berserk. Olivia slapped me across the face, glaring at me with tears streaming down her face. Ethan Cole, do you even have a conscience? You swore you'd love only me for the rest of your life, yet you're keeping a mistress on the side and even fathered a bastard child? Are you even human? Ryan Peterson also chimed in. Ethan Cole, do you think money makes you invincible? That you can just play around with women and father illegitimate children? How could you do this to Olivia? Then he turned to Olivia, saying, Olivia, sue him. He's a successful man after all, let's see how much he cares about his reputation. If he doesn't hand over half the shares this time, we'll ruin his reputation. Olivia straightened up, staring straight at me with bloodshot eyes. I burst into laughter suddenly. Olivia, you're such a hypocrite. Me having a child outside is called cheating and betrayal, but you raising a toy boy and having a bastard is just an accident. Something you couldn't help? Just minutes ago, she had said, of course, if you also have a child outside, you can bring them back too. In the future, they can inherit the company alongside Aiden and Ava. You're nothing like me, so petty and selfish. The words still hung in the air. See, when it's nothing serious, everyone can talk a good game. But light a real fire, and she throws a tantrum, accusing others of crimes. In the end, with Olivia's shrieking tantrum, any discussion about inheritance rights was clearly impossible to continue. Aiden and Eva kept cursing, saying I was truly scheming. They're just worthless test tube experiments. What gives them the right to inherit the company? We're the genuine fruit of mom and dad's love, mom's legitimate children. You must give us half the shares. They even threatened to expose me online if I didn't give their mother a proper explanation. 43 children stood together, mocking them for trying to reap without sowing, ridiculing them for drawing water with a bamboo basket only to end up with nothing. They even crowded around a few of them, demanding photos, saying they wanted everyone to see the modern-day version of adulterous tramps. The standoff lasted ages. With just 4 mouths, how could they possibly outshout 43? Especially one sharp-tongued little girl, her words were particularly biting. Oh, so you laid an egg but can't raise it, so you're trying to extort someone else? I've seen people desperate for power and wealth, but never seen anyone so eager to pawn their son off on another man as their father. If life's really that unbearable, just go drown in a sewer. Why disgrace your ancestors like this? The little girl was sharp-tongued and immediately made Ryan Peterson turn purple with rage, clutching his chest and gasping for breath. Aiden rushed over and raised his hand to slap the girl, but a sturdy kid nearby kicked out, and boom, Aiden instantly crumpled to the ground, howling in pain. Ava snapped at Olivia, Mom, didn't you say this old geezer listens to you the most? Make him kick these bastards out right now, or you divorce him this instant. I'm telling you, you promised us we'd inherit tens of millions. If my brother and I don't get that money, don't ever expect us to call you mom again. We don't have a useless mother like you. Olivia stared blankly at her daughter, who was glaring at her with fury, completely stunned. None of her triumphant air from days before remained. Ryan Peterson also dropped his act of affection and began berating Olivia. Are you a complete idiot? Why didn't you keep a closer eye on that old man? You didn't even know he'd been donating sperm for over a decade. What can you actually accomplish? Indeed, Ryan Peterson has some skills. According to my investigation, Olivia wasn't the only wealthy woman he charmed. He took them on trips, booked hotel rooms, and sweet-talked them into spending lavishly on him. But Olivia was the most devoted to him. Not only did she bear him 2 children, she covered all their daily expenses and even promised the children would inherit her company one day and become its owners. Eva helped Aiden up, and the siblings whispered together, eventually settling on the best course of action. Olivia and I got divorced, splitting the assets 50-50, with each child inheriting their respective parents' shares. This way, each of the siblings would receive 1/4, unlike the initial scenario of complete mixing where they'd each only get 1% or even less. It's indeed a clever arrangement, but who told them I was willing to divorce? After all, I love Olivia so much, and we still have dozens of children yet to be found. As their mother, she can't let the children grow up in a newly reunited yet single-parent family, can she? The company is in my hands. The shares are under my name. If they truly push me too far, I'll just donate everything to charity or buy a bunch of junk stocks. What are they going to do, eat me? 7. That evening, I had a conversation with 45 children. Most of them had graduated from prestigious universities and came from well-off families. The eldest, Leo Stanton, had already started his own company. He told me, "Father, don't worry. We're not here to claim any inheritance. We just want to stand up for you and make sure the villains get what they deserve. Yes, Father, though you never raised us, we carry your blood in our veins. Without you, we wouldn't exist. Aunt Sarah has told us everything. This time we're fighting them to the bitter end, sending them back where they came from." Seeing so many sensible children calling me father one after another warmed my heart, sweeping away the gloom and pain of recent days. It turns out that in the grand scheme of things, it was my own kindness that saved me. After all the children had left, Olivia wanted to have a serious talk with me. We sat together in the villa's courtyard, awkward and distant. Olivia stared at the lily tree, her voice choking up. "Ethan, you planted this tree for me with your own hands. Back then, you said we would grow old together in love, until our hair turns silver. How did we become strangers in just half a month?" I sneered coldly. "So this was just about half a month?" She didn't mention a word about her happy family time in Europe. She's a complete and utter hypocrite. I didn't speak, just wearily closed my eyes. After all, she's the woman I've cherished in the palm of my hand for 20 years. To say I'm not heartbroken would be a lie. Olivia sobbed as she recounted how I used to dote on her and yield to her in the past. When she fell ill, I kept vigil by her bedside without sleep. During the pandemic, I gave her the only fever reducer we had at home while I burned with fever until I lost consciousness. During her menstrual cycle, I would warm my hands and soothe her aching belly all night long. She stepped out, and I dropped everything to drive her with just one word. Not until dawn approached did she finally speak those last words. "Ethan, if you truly love me, have mercy on me just this once, won't you? Give the shares to Aiden and Ava. I couldn't be there as they grew up and owe them so much already. I just want them to have better lives." At this point, Olivia and I have completely reached the end of the road. All her affection was reserved for Ryan Peterson and his family of 3. I was merely used emotionally, time and again. I simply stared at her coldly. "Olivia, back when your parents favored your brother over you and wouldn't even let you finish high school, who was it that worked 3 jobs a day and knelt before them just to beg for your chance to attend college? Olivia, when we got married, your parents demanded $200,000 in bride price, threatening to marry you off to that lame butcher from the neighboring village if they didn't get it. Who was it that took out a high-interest loan to pull you out of that hell? I worked myself to the bone building this company to make you an envied wealthy wife, bought pension insurance for your parents, covered their living expenses, and bought cars and houses for your brother. Who was it that made you a VIP in your parents' home? The one they look up to?" Olivia stopped sobbing, though her voice still faltered. "Ethan, it was you. It's always been you. I know you loved me with all your heart. It's me who failed you. I'm begging you, help me one last time, so our 2 children will have someone to rely on. You have my word, from now on I'll love you wholeheartedly, never betraying your devotion again." Silence descended once more, punctuated only by the occasional sharp chirp of insects. Though Olivia stuttered through her words, I understood everything. She still intended to exploit my feelings, to secure a future for those illegitimate children, to hand my life's work over to that outsider. Her love proved more poisonous than venom, designed not just to take my life but to shatter my very soul. In the end, I had wasted my entire life in vain. Ultimately, I voiced that soul-wrenching question. "Olivia, if you so deeply cherish the children and want them to have stability, why didn't you divorce me earlier? After the divorce, you could have married Ryan Peterson. Working together, wouldn't it have been better to build a future for the children?" Olivia fell silent. She had considered it, but had weighed the pros and cons. Ryan Peterson may be a playboy type who's good at romance and sweet talk, but when it comes to supporting a family and holding up the sky, he's absolutely incapable. Olivia stammered again. "Ryan, he's been pampered since childhood, can't handle the struggles of hard work. You know that. See, this is how some women are, they enjoy their husband's affluent lifestyle while simultaneously complaining he isn't romantic enough, not as sweet-talked or attentive as men outside. Olivia, $1.5 million is enough for you and the kids to live comfortably for a lifetime. Let's get a divorce. I've said all there is to say. In 20 years of marriage, I've never wronged Olivia in the slightest. The $1.5 million is my final act of kindness." Olivia tried to lean her head against me, but I dodged away. Once again, Olivia's sobs floated through the air. Crocodile tears only evoke contempt and disgust. 8. I had just gone back to bed to take a quick nap when Ryan Peterson showed up again with his 2 kids. This time, they didn't lay a hand on me. Instead, they grabbed Olivia by the hair, slapped her twice with a sharp smack, and threw her to the ground. Olivia, I gave up the prime of my life hiding in Europe for you and the kids. And now you're being played for a fool, dragging me into this goddamn joke too. Give me the money, $30 million, and I'll leave with the child. Olivia covered her face and pleaded, Ryan, Ethan has already agreed to give us $1.5 million. We can live frugally with that amount. Wouldn't it be wonderful for our family to be together again? Ava grabbed Olivia and tugged at her, $1.5 million? Which of my classmates isn't worth hundreds of millions? I already struggle to hold my head high among them, and now you want me to live like a miser? You shamelessly cheated and ruined my reputation, leaving me to be called a bastard. If you don't get the money to compensate me, you'll regret it. Ryan Peterson also grumbled angrily, claiming he had been wronged, that Olivia had ruined the best years of his youth. As they spoke, the group began kicking and punching Olivia while staring at me with provocative smirks. Olivia crouched with her arms covering her head, screaming pleas and justifications between sobs, clearly on the verge of breaking down. Call that breaking down? They haven't even pinned her down to drink her blood and chew her flesh yet. Olivia crawled to my feet and begged me, pleaded with me to get her $30 million. I've already discussed it with Sarah, not a single penny will be spared for Ryan Peterson and his family of 3. The mere thought chills me to the bone. Had I not had children, Olivia would have used the threat of divorce and the company to coerce me, gradually draining me of everything I've worked for before tossing me out like garbage. At any rate, we're firmly in control now and have no shortage of money. I'm eager to see what they'll eat and drink once Olivia's cards are frozen. I still have 45 allies backing me, no, 46. Sarah has always stood steadfastly by my side, unwavering for 20 long years. After Ryan Peterson and his 2 companions beat Olivia with punches and kicks, I remained completely unmoved, merely sneering coldly. The trio left in a huff, threatening that this matter wasn't over. If I didn't give them the money, they would beat Olivia to death right in front of my eyes. They were resorting to even the bitter flesh scheme now. 8 days later, Ryan Peterson and Olivia couldn't hold out any longer and took the initiative to propose divorce. They demanded their assets be equally divided according to the law. She claimed she deserved half the assets, saying if nothing else, she'd worked hard enough to merit it. Of course I wouldn't agree, it was she who first betrayed our marriage. Though I have 45 children, I never betrayed my vows. There is a world of difference between her nature and mine. Ryan Peterson grew anxious, fearing I might secretly transfer the assets. I just said calmly, if you want half the assets, then go ahead and sue. The lawsuit was time-consuming and the process complex. After all, there were 45 children involved, all of whom needed individual verification. Olivia screamed at me hoarsely, accusing me of trying to drive her to her death. My tone was calm. You've had a love child for 22 years even before we were married. You've kept it hidden all this time. Why now, of all moments, do you choose to bring it up? If my illegitimate child had stayed in Europe forever, I might never have known, because I trusted her so completely. It's just because the company is about to go public, and they're trying to force me to back down. In their plan, if I didn't relent, even if a conflict arose, the worst-case scenario would be divorce. Olivia and the others would still manage to secure half the assets, that's tens of millions of dollars. So, they had everything calculated. As for someone who has plotted against me for half a lifetime, how could I possibly show mercy? The way to split assets is by doing public welfare, investing in industries and startups with uncertain prospects. I never expected my 45 children to be so efficient. They brought in over a dozen companies in just 2 days. The investment journey went exceptionally smoothly, with 8 companies invested in within just 1 week. I also built 6 large-scale nursing homes and welfare centers, and established 10 whole primary schools in impoverished areas. In just 1 month, the company's assets were nearly drained. Olivia and Ryan Peterson stormed into the company to make a scene, even taking it online, calling me a heartless scoundrel who abandoned his devoted wife and indulged in debauchery. At first, netizens collectively condemned me, but when I revealed my charitable deeds, they all started giving me likes. Then began the digging into Olivia's past, which sent shockwaves across the internet. She had brought her lover and illegitimate child to seize the family fortune. For a moment, Olivia was utterly vilified, branded with endless labels like modern Jezebel and gold digger. Ryan Peterson became the epitome of a kept man, synonymous with pretty boys living off others. Their front door was plastered with slogans and covered in rotten eggs, spoiled shrimp, and stinking fish. The stench was unbearable. Aiden and Ava couldn't even think about traveling. Every time they stepped outside, people would pelt their faces with rotten vegetables. For the rest of their lives, they'd be met with scorn whenever they went out. Their malice had finally come back to bite them. In the end, Olivia hired a lawyer to sue me, accusing me of maliciously transferring marital assets. After 3 months of investigative auditing, it was finally determined that the flow of my funds was legitimate. Olivia ended up with only the remaining $50,000. Ryan Peterson took that $50,000 and vanished, reportedly having hooked up with some elderly wealthy woman to climb the social ladder. The two spoiled children had no intention of finding jobs, instead spending their days cursing at and laying hands on Olivia. After being mocked by friends yet again, Aiden came home and took his anger out on Olivia. During their altercation, Aiden stabbed Olivia 18 times with a fruit knife. Olivia died instantly at the scene. Ava helped her brother dismember the body to cover up the crime, but eventually both were arrested by the police. Aiden was convicted of intentional homicide and sentenced to life imprisonment, while Ava received a 10-year prison sentence as an accomplice. I paid little attention to these matters, instead devoting myself entirely to wedding preparations. After all these years, it's impossible to say I had no affection for Sarah, it's just that I always maintained my boundaries and never crossed the line. Now it's time for me to give her an explanation. A woman who waited from girlhood to middle age, silently bearing me twins, a boy and a girl. This depth of love and kindness, I can only repay with the remainder of my life. Watching these two children grow diligent and filial, I finally understand, some people are sent by heaven to punish you, while others are sent to save you. After all my wandering, I've finally met the one destined to save me. 3 years later, our son and daughter graduated from MIT and officially took over the businesses I had invested in. Sarah and I finally laid down our burdens and began traveling the world. During one of our strolls, we spotted a familiar figure beside a trash bin in France. Upon closer inspection, we realized it was Ryan Peterson. His body was covered with sores, and his mind had deteriorated. Turned out that Sugar Mommy had contracted syphilis, and within 3 months he'd caught it too. Disgusted by his condition, she'd kicked him out onto the streets. His meager savings were exhausted on medical treatments within half a year, leaving him homeless and gradually driving him to madness. Sarah and I exchanged glances, then strode away with light laughter. Trash belongs in the gutter, that's respecting others' destinies. As for Sarah and me, we'll support each other through a lifetime of happiness. The end.